The Ryder Cup, the ultimate battleground in international golf where pride, passion, and national honor are always on the line, returned with its trademark intensity at Bethpage Black in New York. But while the drama on the course delivered everything fans expected, the broadcast itself became the unexpected story of the morning, sparking outrage, frustration, and relentless criticism across social media platforms as fans who had been waiting 2 years for this monumental event found themselves let down, not by the players, not by the course, not by the competitive fire, but by the broadcast production, specifically the USA Network's handling of audio and timing, which left viewers feeling robbed of the raw emotion and atmosphere that defines the Ryder Cup experience. Because when you watch the Ryder Cup from home, you expect to be transported into the thick of the action. You expect to hear the roars of the crowd rising like thunder. You expect to feel the pressure in every putt and the electricity in every tee shot. And yet what they got instead was delayed reactions, muted crowd noise, and the complete breakdown of broadcast immersion, leaving thousands of fans shaking their heads and taking to X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, to vent their collective anger, disappointment, and disbelief. One fan flat out demanded answers by asking why the USA Network had muted the Ryder Cup crowd, because what makes the Ryder Cup different from every other golf event is the energy of the spectators, the chants, the songs, the patriotic screams of victory, the emotional tidal wave that surges after every clutch birdie or improbable save, and by muting that, by stripping away the roar, the network stripped away the very heartbeat of the event. Another fan hammered the sound engineering team, accusing them of fumbling the moment, pointing out that cheers were coming seconds late, disconnecting the moment of brilliance from the crowd's eruption, which made every highlight feel awkward, unnatural, and poorly executed. And it hit hardest when Bryson DeChambeau produced a massive moment early in play, a moment that should have detonated like fireworks on the broadcast, instead landing with a thud because the reaction was botched by a delay that killed the adrenaline rush. This is the Ryder Cup, not a quiet Tuesday practice round. This is supposed to be an event where millions of viewers worldwide lean into their screens and feel the pulse of the battlefield. Yet instead, they were left listening to silence, then a lagging roar, then back to awkward commentary trying to cover the gap, and the reaction online was swift and brutal, with THP Golf chiming in to point out the obvious that USA Network having sound issues right at the start of an event that fans have been anticipating for years is simply unacceptable. Because when you hype something this big, when you market it as must-see drama, when you package it as the crown jewel of golf's team competition, you cannot afford to botch the basics. You cannot afford to ruin the viewing experience through technical incompetence. And that is why the outrage was so aggressive, because fans were not nitpicking, they were not looking for minor flaws, they were demanding the core product they were promised, the unfiltered energy of golf's greatest team spectacle, and instead they got something broken, muted, delayed, and deflating, which begs the larger question of how networks continue to stumble with major sporting events despite years of preparation and millions of dollars invested. Because this is not a local cable access show, this is the Ryder Cup. The stage does not get bigger in golf, and yet here we were with fans feeling cheated, pointing out that sound design is not just a small technical detail, it is the bridge between the event and the audience. It is the difference between goosebumps and boredom. It is the factor that allows a couch in New Jersey, a bar in London, or a living room in Tokyo to erupt in unison with the crowd on site in New York. And when that bridge collapses, the entire experience collapses. So what does this mean for the reputation of USA Network? What does this mean for golf broadcasts moving forward? And most importantly, what does it say about the expectation gap between fans and broadcasters in today's hyper-connected world? Because fans today are not passive. They do not just accept what is fed to them, they demand accountability. They demand excellence. And they have platforms to call out failure instantly, loudly, and collectively, which is exactly what happened here. And it's worth noting that the Ryder Cup is not just a golf tournament, it is a cultural moment. It is where national identity collides with sport, where pressure amplifies every stroke, where the players feed off the crowd like gladiators. And to deliver that without the roar is like delivering a boxing match without the punches, like a concert without the music, like a fireworks show without the explosions. It is simply incomplete. And that incompleteness is why fans were so angry, because they deserve better, they expected better, and they knew better. The hype was built for 2 years, tickets sold out, sponsorships poured in, networks negotiated rights, and fans cleared their schedules to watch, yet what they received on their screens was a product that felt unfinished, unprofessional, and unacceptable. And that is the root of this entire backlash. The refusal of fans to tolerate mediocrity at the highest level of sport. Because if fans are going to invest their time, passion, and energy into the Ryder Cup, they expect the broadcasters to match that with equal intensity, precision, and competence, and that did not happen. Which is why, even though the players were locked in, even though Bethpage Black was primed for drama, even though the atmosphere on site was electric, the millions at home could not feel it, because the sound, the timing, the essence of the Ryder Cup was fumbled by the very people paid to deliver it. And this is not just about one morning of technical issues, it's about trust, it's about credibility, it's about whether fans can count on networks to elevate the sport or whether they will continue to undermine it through careless mistakes. And until that trust is rebuilt, until fans believe that their emotional investment will not be wasted, these criticisms will not stop. They will only grow louder, because the Ryder Cup deserves perfection. The fans deserve perfection. And if the networks cannot deliver it, the backlash will continue to remind them that failure is not an option.